you say?
What?
I said, what did you say?
Get lost, buddy.
Shut up, mister. Yeah, shut your mouth, mister.
Like, if you remember sort of the way Fallout deals with things, and well,
which Fallout are we talking about now?
well, any of them, even like Fallout 4, like
That's
it's
my least favorite of the ones I've played, to be honest. But yeah,
yeah. I mean, you go and talk to these guys, and apart from anything else, apart from the fact that the dialogue is, apart from the fact that it's an RPG, so the whole purpose of the game is to talk to well, a major part of the game is to talk to characters and this, that, and the other, and that part of it isn't as good as Red Dead's communication, which it should be because you know it's an RPG.
yeah.
But then these characters, they just sort of go and do really mundane things. And they just kind of sit down and then stand up and then sort of like,
They might go to bed, but that's
Yeah.
all they do. They're just on a little boring loop, essentially.
yeah, totally.
And I remember back when Skyrim released, that was a big selling point for the game, that you know, NPCs in towns had their own loop and their own lifestyle, and they did
Yeah.
what they did without interaction from the player, and that's true. And it was cool at the time, but now looking back at it, it's just they go to sleep, they get up, they go and like do the same animation for like most of the day, like at a blacksmith or something, and then they go back home again.
Yeah, which is still, I suppose, that is still pretty good.
It's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's, to be fair, what they do in Red Dead as well. You can boil it down.
Yeah, that's true.
Pretty simply, unfortunately. But this is the thing: is it's when you don't realise, like when we were first playing, you and I couldn't really work out how the game worked. I didn't want to work out how the game worked.
No.
But once you do, once you can see those cogs, once you can see how it all comes together, it's, you know, a little bit like, oh, I kind of preferred it when I didn't really know how anything worked.
Yeah, even down to what I just discovered the other day. You know, greet antagonise, right? It produces hilarious results when you're when you're talking to people. Now, the fact that I know exactly what button combination or conversation combination to do in order to achieve a certain result breaks the illusion a bit. Whereas back in the early game, you know, if that happened, I would have assumed it was just a totally random thing that happened.
Yeah.
Whereas now I know how to achieve that amusing result, so it kind of sucks the magic out of it a bit that way.
It does, but it also was amazing that you've discovered.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best sequence. That's the most sort of flowing sequence, isn't it? Essentially.
Yeah, it is.
Greet, antagonize.
Yeah, it's the most extensive, I think, combination of greetings you can use. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, usually you press greet and then you're like hello. That initiates it. You press greet again, there's a comment. But then I think that the third greet would just be goodbye probably or something.
Yeah.
But I remember in camp as Arthur, like the third greet would always be alright, and then he'd walk away or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the amount of time I spend just walking around talking to people in camp.
Oh, so good. That's the thing I actually miss most about the game.
Oh, I so miss that.
Apart from Arthur. Fuck me.
That camp is just... you can tell... They were really proud of the camp.
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember they were talking about it a lot in the previews. And I can understand why. That's the most... That feels like a real, alive group of people.
It does. Actually, since we've been banging on about things we see through the game about, I still haven't figured the camp out, and I don't want to. Do you know what I mean? I haven't seen everything that there is in the camp.
No.
And even up
Yeah, I get what you're saying,
until
yeah.
and including the last time I was interacting with the camp, I still didn't understand how it all worked or how this was all happening around me, and the very fact that I was able to miss conversations or come and witness conversations halfway through, that everything wasn't waiting around for me to initiate. It's incredible, I think.
Yeah, that is actually really true.
Plot-
And I still couldn't tell you what their like rotas were, because they clearly had a system like you're talking about with Skyrim. But I mean, I probably could if I thought about it, but without thinking about it, I don't know what Mary Beth does between the hours of 12 and 4, or I don't know what like Javier does in the same sort of hours, and they swapped who was guarding camp, and like
That's a great point, actually. Yeah.
like that's a massive point.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking about that. Like I came in like the fourth or fifth time, and I was like, we've had a different person guarding camp. That's a big thing. It's not like they have the camp guard. Like that is really big.
They take random shifts for fuck's
Yeah.
sake.
Yeah, that is like that. When we were talking about the whole Skyrim and like these systems and stuff, that's the sort of change that really is pushing the boat a bit.
Yeah.
And obviously, it all comes down to algorithms again. But you know, like.
But even I remember this in one of the previews as well. Someone was looking for Jack in the camp, and the Rockstar employee told him to go. He should be over there, and the player went over. Jack wasn't there, and they went looking for him, and they found him playing in the woods or something. And the Rockstar guy was apparently shocked because he'd never seen it before, and like, that's amazing. And that's the feeling it maintained with me up until the very end as well.
Yeah.
It's the one thing about the game that I still can't comprehend, and I don't want to either.
Yeah. I mean, I still think that whole thing is amazing. I mean, considering the game is in the epilogue, and I've gone back to the house in Beach's Hope probably 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
I've never seen the same conversation between people. And considering the game is long finished, like that's a big thing. The game is long finished, and I'm still seeing new conversations between Uncle and Abigail or Uncle and Jack.
Yeah.
Like 5 or 6 or 7 times. And that shows you how many different combinations of conversations they must have recorded for the camp whilst Arthur's alive.
Jesus.
They must have been absolutely thousands of different conversations for different people.
Yeah.
No wonder there was, 1,000 voice actors and
100-hour work weeks and all this controversial stuff.
oh yeah, but that was just the writers anyway.
Yeah.
But no one cares about that. They just wanted the controversy, didn't they? So.
Yeah.
But like 1,000, let's presume that the voice actors were paid, at least 500 quid for a day's work.
You know, you're a lot less ugly from that other angle, Arthur. Come on. Do I get a hug, Arthur? A warm embrace for a lost brother now found. You know, nothing means more to me than this gang, the bond we share. It's the most real thing to me. I would kill for it, I would happily die for it. But in spite of all of that, I would have easily left you here to rot if Charles hadn't stopped me. I don't believe a word of that, Arthur. Get him out of here. You're a great man, Arthur Morgan. The kind of young whippersnapper I can really admire. Oh, shut up.
That's 500 grand just on one day's work for each of those voice actors. And considering we know that there was more than that,
Yeah.
obviously, like for Arthur and that lot,
Fucking
for
Arthur.
the motion capture.
Roger Clark was working for 5 years on the voice acting for that. Now,
Jesus.
obviously it wasn't 5 solid years, but still,
No.
he was working with Rockstar for 5 years recording dialogue. What the hell?
They must. I genuinely think they must have spent 10 million on the performances. At least.
They'd have to have. Yeah.
Yeah, they like at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's so huge.
Jesus.
But it shows because the story and the characters are better than any game by far.
Yeah. Far above. Well,
And the performances.
The only ones that come close are probably Naughty Dog.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but they haven't got as big a cast.
No. Or as like wide a scope or like depth or breadth of
gameplay options,
gameplay or interactions or anything. Jesus. Yeah.
What an achievement.
Guess we're just about done, my friend.
Stand unshaken, amidst the crash of